Hey, well, good to see everybody. This is the Painting with Ashes author chat. Grateful for everybody who can drop in. Would love to see where you're joining from and how you're doing today, and how life's going. So, I'm going to talk about the book Painting with Ashes, and hopefully, you've had an opportunity at this point to kind of dig into it some. And I want to offer answer any questions or any insights that you may want to bring to the conversation. Would welcome those. So I'll share a little bit just to get us started here. Sorry, I'm having some internet issues. It's kind of raining a lot here in Florida, and we've actually had no internet for like 5 days, which has been kind of like being in purgatory. Um, Yeah, so one of the I just recently shared at a conference the image of Van Gogh's Starry Night, and I wanted to pull up the remixed image. I'm not going to be able to do it, but one of the things that we talked about was the light of Christ somehow sometimes seems to shine everywhere but the church. And one of my friends, pastor artist Sarah Black um, Payne, created this beautiful image, kind of a remix of Van Gogh, with the Holy Spirit descending like a dove and lighting up the church again, and the light of the community of the Holy Spirit was spread all over the community. And it was just this beautiful image, and I wanted to share that, which I actually can't. So you'll just have to take my description of it, and maybe I'll be able to post it in the comment section later. But one of the things that I feel like is really happening right now in a big way across the church universal is that the Holy Spirit is at work and lighting up the church with the divine presence again. And as we seek to be church in the wild, as we seek to go out and form Christian communities with people that don't go to church, it's actually having this unanticipated impact on inherited congregations, on the inherited church, who seem to be kind of coming alive again. And I've had the joy and privilege and opportunity to see this happen in multiple congregations that I've served. And I'm watching it happen again right now at St. Mark's United Methodist Church. And one of the things we were talking about in our little Bible study last night was people were just sharing this hope and this vision that they had to see the church thriving. And then they kind of named what that would look like and kind of went back in their memories and talked about when hundreds of people were packed in and all these people were part of these different groups and such. And one of the things we had to come to terms with is that a vital and flourishing church might not look like that. But can we identify and note and see where the Spirit is at work? And might we kind of reimagine what vitality looks like in this new space? Might we reimagine that maybe it doesn't need to be thousands of people packed into a building in a big stadium with amplification and all of that, but maybe it's dozens of smaller little groups, church in the wild, the way I talk about it in Painting with Ashes, that are springing up everywhere, all over in life, in the places where we just hang out, in the places where we, drink coffee, get tattoos, eat burritos, go to dog parks, whatever. That the church is kind of springing up all over in those spaces. And then what impact might that have on the traditional congregation, on the inherited congregation? And might it be that we are on the verge of something with coming out of COVID and coming out of the ashes of COVID, that we may be set and primed for a renewal and for the Spirit, the dove, to descend again and light up the church. So I have hope for that. I dream for that. I believe in that. I believe in the Church of Jesus Christ. I believe it's Jesus's plan for better or for worse. Sometimes I shake my head and say, "What were you thinking, Jesus?" Because the church is like us. It's a community of people, and we got our issues, but it's also a spirit-filled dwelling place for God's presence, right? So those two things living in paradox and tension, but it's through that Jesus is going to heal the world and heal the cosmos through the church. So those are some things I've been thinking about. Maybe you have something completely unrelated to that, but do you have a question, a thought, a comment about anything I just said, or about painting with ashes in general? Is anything kind of messed with your theology, or has it left you with questions or comments, some insights you have, or something you want to say, hey, you missed this, you should add that, you should have thought about this? Whatever you have, post it in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Any general thoughts, questions? If not, we're going to have a really short stream today. Hey, Bill. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, so I'll say one more thing in case anybody's trying to formulate a thought or a question. This Sunday we're going to celebrate what we call in the Christian tradition the Palm and Passion Sunday. So we'll remember and reflect in the final processional of Jesus through the streets of Jerusalem and to the cross. And we'll reflect on, the poor, the oppressed, the marginalized, the unseen, who gathered the streets to praise Jesus one day, and then a couple of days later they were saying, "Crucify him." We'll behold all of that together, and I think one of the central things that the cross makes me think about is that when we see a crucified God, when we see somehow the mystery of the Trinity present there, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit on the cross, we ultimately see the heart of God, the character of God, and the power of God manifest in a crucified, humble servant. And what that says to me is we have a God who paints with ashes. We have a God who takes in all the brokenness and pain of creation and transforms that to bring our healing through that. So, Bill, I appreciate you, sir. It's good to see you. And Jessica's got a question comment here. In the Starry Night, the balance between the tree and the church offer unique ratios in comparison. What do you think the tree symbolizes in the painting parable? It sort of connects the heavens to the earth where the church fails to reach. It's really good insight. And it's been a long time since I actually dug into this. When I was writing the book, I did a kind of in-depth study of that image and tried to understand different interpretations of it. And amazingly, because Van Gogh wrote a lot of letters about his paintings, and most offered a kind of like a reflection on what he was thinking on. So, but not that one. We don't really know what was in his heart and his mind when he clearly portrayed the church with the lights out and the other. But we do know about the tree, and artists have done like semiotics around how that tree is image wise speaking, like kind of bringing together heaven and earth and making that contrast and that comparison. And then you have the little townscape in the background, and then the clear kind of absence of the church not seemingly connected to this beautiful panorama of star and color, and light and sound. You can almost see the sound of the light. So all of that's happening, and I think that there is some a kind of a contrast thing that Van Gogh's doing with that. And I think Jessica makes a great point, because the function of the church is like that tree, right? To connect heaven and earth, to pray the prayer of Jesus, that on earth as it is in heaven, and to see God's kingdom and God's shalom and peace and healing come into the world. And so I will post that image that Sarah made in the comment section later when I can figure out how to do that. And I thank you for that question, Jessica. So if there's no other questions, thoughts, comments, I am grateful to be with you. Hey, I do these every week, just an opportunity to connect. There's a bunch of new resources that Invite has rolled out connected to the book. There's an assessment where you can kind of take to assess. I think we call it a wound inventory. There's a grid in there that helps people move from like what broke me to flourishing. There's a guidebook for wounded healers, how to turn our weakness into our superpower, how to turn our wounds into a source of healing for others. All of that's in there at the Invite site. And so I encourage you to check that out. There's a sermon series in there as well. And so thank you, everybody, for joining in for this stream, and I'll see y'all next week. Thank you, and God bless you.